Yeah. All right. Strep, over to you. Anything on Uconnect you want to bring up?
Like I know we're talking about deadlines now. Actually, funny enough, I know that there's no timeline because we're doing this slightly different model in that we are doing it portion by portion, and then we get the sign off on the course map. Now we're doing the design, and you've asked for the course outline, but we've got one more meeting next week for one more module, or unless, well, we get the feedback from module. So there's the 6 modules. Module 5 has been sent, but they haven't commented on it yet. Our meeting on Tuesday, we probably will go through that. So then there's module 6 as well. So you still want to present to them like the first 4 modules of the outline. My question is like how detailed. We didn't actually, I didn't think my question was answered. I didn't realize it at the time, but now that I'm going through it, is like how much detail in the course outline do we need to fill in? Is it more literally like this is how we see it flowing, or do you want like how we're picturing the calls to action for coming to play, or how, you know, like is it just the content basically? Is the content outline, or is it the outline of the module, how it's going to flow, how we think it's going to be presented? Maybe once again, I'm probably getting too far ahead of myself again. I'm just going through the content thing, which is a lot, but I still need to also think about how it's going to, or should I just focus on what's in each lesson, taking the comments that they've made on the questions we've sent to them, the call recordings, the stuff that's in the course map, all those comments and content that's in there.
Let's have a quick chat about course maps in general, and how to think about those at the various stages. I think that'll be used for a refresher as well. So I will sort of bring up, and I'll share my screen. Okay, so all right, so this is the Pinterest one. And then we've got the Word document one that Jill created, which is easier to share for the first phase of which I'll explain. And then I think, I've got the Uconnect one here. Okay, so I don't know if you had seen this Word one, because I think maybe you were further along in the project by the time we created this, but do you know the background with this one? Did we lose Stratton? Oh no, it's bad timing. What does it say? Participants. It looks like we did. Okay, that's unfortunate. All right, well, I'm just going to keep going because we are recording this, and hopefully he'll be able to join with questions of his own. Let's keep an eye. Okay, so yeah, this will be a good refresher. You can always refer back to this, but I think the value of this document, which is a Word document, is the comments you see on the side here. And we use this to get clear on the learning objectives. Well, so first of all, the journey. Okay, so like the different modules, the lessons. This is the result of what we just talked about, right? Like, what do you want people to do, and then filling in the gaps part, right? Those 2 steps, and sort of, and that reflection, go for a walk with your dog, is like getting clear on that. That's like the first piece of it, right? What are the steps? And then we've got the learning objective, which is that action, whatever that action is described. So we want them to recognize things, identify things, describe. It's all very action orientated. And I think at some point there will be, all right, Stret's joining back now. Yeah, like that's like very, arrange well-constructed meetings, construct a plan. Like there's outputs to that, right? Which is great. Like they'll actually like arrange a meeting. They'll actually construct a plan, and they'll have something that they can share with people. Oh, Stret, you're back.
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, cool. You just go on mute unless you have a question, because there's like a beep that keeps coming through.
Cool.
Basically, what I was saying, just to as a quick recap. Well, do you know about this Word document? You do. Okay.
No.
No.
Which
So
one? This one?
the word version of the course map.
No, I know you guys. Someone was working on that, but that's
Okay,
not
so the point of this is to blow up the first few steps. So basically the journey, the source content, and the learning objectives into a Word document that clients can comment on, because it's not, as you've probably seen with this, it's not easy to keep track of all the comments that are floating around in a spreadsheet. Okay, so that's the point of that. And what I was saying was, this is the culmination of the process that we just talked about, right? Which is like, what do you want people to do? Filling in the gaps, go for a walk with your dog, right? That whole thing. So we've got that lesson outline, like, so they're comfortable with the learning journey. Then they've got actionable learning objectives, which are those actions. And I was referring to a few as you joined that are very actionable, right? Like constructing a plan, that's really good. Arranging well-constructed meetings, there's an actual output to that, okay? And then there's the source and existing content. So I think you need to create one of these to answer your question most directly for them, which is blowing up these first three columns, okay? The final, this column here is the source or existing content. So what Kai has done is referred to specific slides that have that. What you may be able to do, because you've been going through, where is it? Uconnect. Let's collapse. Yeah, is like share this high level summary, right? Aligning career service team goals, specific strategic goals, Synnex golden circle. So that would be like the source and existing content that, you know, that we probably don't need that level of detail for this document. Basically saying, like, you know, if there was a script writer like the Shell's doing with Pinterest, like where would they go and get, what would they need to, what are the topics they need to hit, right? And then additional space for additional notes if you need to add any context. And then the beauty of this document is that those comments, like you can see here, can go back and forth to get comfortable with what's in that, okay? Once that's done and approved, then you can go in and fill in the remaining steps here, right? So asset types, call to actions, and knowledge checks. And that's saying, okay, cool. So now that's what we need to create. We need to create something, a lesson on hiring focus. By the end of it, people need to be able to identify that. Here's where we're going to draw the content from. So now we're going to say, okay, so how's this going to be presented? So it's going to be bite-sized content and Rise, interactive elements, blah, blah, blah. And then individuals will be required to do what? And this, in this case, reflects on with these prompts, and there's no community call to action. And the next one, a community call to action is sharing, you know, how, remember the difference between those two, straight? It's like the individual takes action, and then the community piece is what do they do to share with the peer-to-peer learning aspect of it. So you should always have one or the other. You can also have both. But yeah, you don't have to have both. So that's why some of these are NA. And then knowledge checks is that check for understanding, right? So there's certain things we need to make sure that they know. And that's what you need to come up with for Uconnect. That's the final deliverable, right? So a little bit of a blowout of what each of those things are going to do and where we're going to get the content from and how it's going to look, right? Because now this is the document we take into production. And in theory, what we need, the point we need to get to is that anybody could pick this up with some kind of debrief or handover and start to create this. Because they can go, okay, we need bite-sized content and Rise, cool. We also, by the way, we transfer this all into one thing, so we just share that. But they, you know, they basically get this bite-sized content. This is where it comes from. This is what my objective with that content is. And you should be able to go and actually start scripting it. And, you know, and there's maybe we talked about on previous calls, which if you missed those, Stred, you should go in and watch these videos that Alex created here. Okay, so you can get some more insights into that part. Yeah, and what a point I was making to Kai is that you've got most of this. This was on Tuesday when we were chatting. You've done like so much of the work by the end of this that production becomes a lot quicker, because we know we need to present some content. We know we need people to take action. We know there's a community element, and this is basically already, the thinking is the hard part, and much of that thinking has already been done. It's now like we put it in, we see, does it make sense? There will still be some tweaks. This is never perfect and final, but a huge part of that thinking has already been done. And, even got like quiz questions and stuff already. So you're doing quite a lot of cutting and pasting at that point. To going back to what we were talking about last week of like these different blocks, and we're constructing them together into a piece of content that the end user, right, which is our learners, that's what they're going to see. Does that make sense, right?
Yeah, that's great. So is this a template, the Google Doc version that you got? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Jill shared that around, which is just an easier way to present and comment on. But the point that's key as well is you've done so much of the work here already. Like this is what you're doing. This document is just your presentation format for the client.
Okay.
Right. So like
and
lesson 2, why digital engagement? Like I would have those. Just do it like this. Sorry, Kai, I'm not going to mess up your document here, but like I just copy pasted it in. We probably can delete the sub bullets, right? And then just have those bullets there, and then that's it. Then they know, like, okay, those are the topics, those are the headings we need to hit.
Got it.
I'll do that.
Cool.
And so that
can you please
to complete that, as you move into production, when we get sign off on that, then you now have the details of how to do that. That go behind that, and that's the value we bring, right? Because we give them this. There's enough in there, like in theory, that they could go and do it themselves, but they're going to have to do a lot of the thinking, which you've already done, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Great.
So what I would say, because you've got this one done pretty well. If you want to do by next week, if you can do like a full end-to-end for just the first module, so then they can at least see what that looks like. It'll also give you some practice. You and I can give you some feedback on it. We get their feedback, and then we can go and do the rest.
Cool. That sounds great.
Awesome.
Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do all 4 modules by Tuesday, but module 1, perfect. I'll wax it.
Awesome.
You can share that template with me. I literally haven't seen it. It must have been in one of the other Slack groups or something I'm not part of. So that'd be great.
Okay, cool. Jabs, do you mind? Can you just send that to Strat again? Okay, cool.
Thanks. Yeah, awesome.